Hey everybody, your friendly neighborhood gaming guy Gordon is here with the first Survivor exit interview for Survivor 43. Hope you enjoyed the premiere last night. I certainly did. I felt like we got to know everybody. I felt like there weren't too many crazy twists. I was into it. Before we get things underway, a couple quick orders of business. First of all, the comment section is open, so feel free to tell us how you feel about the episode, the season, the cast, your favorite color. I don't care. There's just three simple rules. First of all, be nice to each other, be nice to the contestant, and please be nice to me because I am sensitive. If you're an Xfinity subscriber, just say Survivor in your Xfinity voice remote. That'll take you to a destination, lets you watch these interviews, watch full episodes, set your DVR, you name it. If you want to get a hold of me, that's super easy on Twitter at Gordon Holmes. I'd love to hear from you. And finally, hit the like button, smash the subscribe button. Don't smash them, just hit it like a normal human being, because it does us a big favor, gets more people to see the content. More people see the content, the more fun stuff we can do. And with that said, let's check in with today's Survivor exit interview. Mariah, welcome to my hangout.
Hi.
How's it going?
It's going good.
Oh, I know it's rough to be first, but it's in your defense, it really didn't feel like you did anything wrong. It just felt like you didn't have anywhere to hide.
Yeah, it just felt like it wasn't in the cards for me this time around.
Now, you voted for Owen. What did you think was going to happen when you were headed into tribal? Was it going to be 5-1 in Owen's direction?
I was hoping for that. You go into it just with hope. You have no idea how anything is going to play out. And although I had a small, feeling in my gut, I was trying to ignore it and really hold true to this women's alliance, hold true to the pact that we made with Sammy. And I was just hoping that it played out. But I definitely felt a shift during tribal.
Now, in hindsight, because you're used to a whole group of a classroom plotting against you. In hindsight, was there something you should have picked up on?
No, I think that it came to me in the right moment. I think that Ellie did a phenomenal job of, throwing my name under the bus, and keeping it from me. I did not know. It wasn't until we got into tribal that I started to, or when we're on our way to tribal, I started to hit the gut feeling, and it was on me for ignoring it, because I think before tribal council, I had that smart inclination, but for me, I didn't want to be a paranoid player. I really wanted to trust in my alliance and rely on that loyalty to get me further into the game. So I think I played how I wanted to play, but in the moment during tribal council, when I felt that inclination, I felt that shift in tribal, I definitely think there was probably more I could have done to save myself.
Now, they went with Owen over you, keeping him around, but we never saw him really have any kind of relationship with Ellie. Were they talking and we just didn't see it?
You didn't see it, I didn't see it. so I mean, obviously they were, but they did such a great job of building that relationship, and keeping it away from me. From my perspective, I didn't know that they had a bond, and I didn't know that they had a whole side alliance going on. Like, that was unbeknownst to me. And so they did a good job of keeping it under wraps and then using it when they needed to. But I had no idea. No.
Okay. Now you were working with Janine and Ellie, and you had mentioned that Sammy was a fourth there. Do you think Sammy maybe was trying to have your back a bit when he targeted Owen, or do you think he and Owen just didn't get along?
No, I think that he was trying to have my back. I think that it's something that Sammy and I had both talked about, and wanted to do, but I think it was a classic case of wanting to go with the numbers. It probably might have been a moment when I wasn't around where the rest of the group had already decided this is what's happening, and he had to hop ship. Otherwise, if I would have went home, he could possibly have his head on the chopping blocks in the next round if he didn't go with those numbers. So I think it was just a moment of him having to save himself and do what was best for him in his future game.
Okay, I got to say, I'm so happy that you brought the rainbow background and the rainbow attire. No, it's honestly, because seriously, if you hadn't, I would have been so embarrassed that I did this.
Oh my God, those are so cool.
Right?
I'm genuinely impressed. Everyone has been doing a really good job today with the rainbow outfits, but you've definitely hit like a level 10.
On the way out the door, I said to my wife, like, do you still have your rainbow gloves? She's like, yeah, sure. Can I borrow them? And she's like, yeah. And then she's like, what for? And I'm like, don't worry about it.
You're like, you'll see later.
she hadn't seen the episode yet, so she's in for a little surprise.
I love them. So if you could actually give, when we're done with this interview, I'm going to shoot you my address. If you could give my address to your wife so she can mail them to me, that would be great.
I just lost the lighting in this room. Will do. I'm going to take one off because I can't do anything with the computer. I'm trying to check the time and it's just not working. All right, back to the game. So Sammy said there wasn't much strategy pre-challenge.
Mhm.
I think I had seen some strategy up to that point. Was he in the dark up until the challenge? Is that when you guys brought him on board afterwards?
No, I think a little bit. I think we did bring Sammy in a little bit late, but I think that as a tribe, there really wasn't a lot of strategizing. I think that we really were a kumbaya tribe who was just working on trying to foster our chemistry, do good in the challenges so we didn't have to go to tribal at all. So I do think on one hand, Sammy was a little bit in the dark about the Women's Alliance because we didn't broadcast it to the men. But I think in general, there wasn't much strategizing, running around, or scrambling happening at camp.
Okay. You know, it's a 2-hour premiere, but there's 18 people and 3 tribes and 2 immunity challenges and a partridge in a pear tree. So we don't get to, there's a lot we don't get to see. What happened out there that we didn't get to see? Do you wish we had seen?
Yeah, 2 things come to mind. The first thing is when we got back from losing that challenge right before Tribal Council, before we even started strategizing, before we even started going off and scrambling, we had all gotten around the fire and was literally breathing life into it. Our fire was completely gone. Jeff had confiscated our flint as a penalty. And so you heard it for a glimpse, like Gabler had given his like story about how he was going to play his shot in the dark. And then Ellie said, let's put a pin on it and work on the fire. And the 5 of us got around that fire. We're blowing on embers. We're breathing smoke in. We're adding in twigs. And we literally brought our fire back to life because our mindset was whoever's coming back tonight, we want to make sure that we have that fire. So even though one of us was going home, the fact that we all sat around that fire and breathed life into it, I think that if there was anything that could encapsulate the essence of our tribe, it was that moment. So I wish that the world had an opportunity to see that, because I think that that was just a perfect picture of how our tribe really was. We really were a family. And even though we knew one of us was going home, we didn't want the remaining tribe members to come back and be without fire. So I definitely wish that had been shown.
You might be too good for this game. Like this isn't for you. You might be too nice.
I've gotten that before, so it's not new news. I think the second thing that I wish had been shown a little bit more is the reason why I was playing the game. Like, yes, I'm a lover of the game. I've been watching since I was a kid, but I really came out playing for my mom, and that story was really important to me. My mom passed away a few years ago, and I kind of had this bucket list of things I wanted to do to commemorate her. And so my mom was a teacher. I became a teacher. She always wanted to go to Hawaii and never got the chance. So I went there to scatter her ashes. And so playing Survivor was the last thing that I wanted to do to commemorate her. And so that was a huge part of my journey, and a part of my story that I wish would have gotten a little bit more airtime. Because I think that everyone comes to the game being such a huge fan and wanting to play. But for me, it was loving the game, being a huge fan, watching since I was a kid, but also commemorating my mom. And so that's the small piece that I wish would have been shown a little bit more.
Well, I would hope she's super proud just because of, the way you played and your attitude, and you're absolutely a delight. And I'm not just saying that because we're rainbow buddies. We do a word association here to get to know your tribe mates a little bit better. I'll say someone's name, give me the first word, a couple words that pops into your head. And okay. Let's start off with Owen.
Water. Boy.
Janine. Water boy?
Fire. Yeah, water boy. Fire.
Janine is fire?
Yes.
Okay. Ellie.
Rope.
Gabler.
Boat.
And we'll finish off with Sammy.
Fun.
Okay. Normally it's like, nice, cool, mean, jerk, and you're like, apple.
Those were the things that I think they did around camp. Like, I just remember Owen was always gonna go grab water. Janine was like always like fire breathing dragons. We're like our little motto. Ellie was always tying ropes for our shelter, and Sammy was just fun. So I think those were the words that came the best.
There are no wrong answers. So like, don't I'm like why didn't you give me? No, those are perfectly good answers.
It's like the short answer response on a state test.
When you're on your way out, you mentioned that you played like a first-time player, but you should have played like a second-time player, which I thought was a really interesting comment. What does that mean to you?
I think that, like I said, during tribal council, I felt the shift where it was like, I knew it was going to be me. And so I think in that moment, if I was playing my second time, I probably could have done a little bit more to save myself, whether it be, you know, going up and instead of writing Owen's name, playing my shot in the dark. And I've legit been having dreams. Like I have dreams of like me coming, Jeff saying, I'm time to read a vote. Any advantages? And I'm like, Jeff, hold on. And he like unrolls the scroll and it says safe, and me being like the first person ever on Survivor to actually be saved from the shot in the dark. Like that's a risk that I feel like second time players would take, but you don't want to give up that power. It's your first time playing. You want to vote. Like that's why you came to Survivor. Or whether it be just blowing up tribal council and just being like, when I had that shift in my gut and I'm like, I think it might be me. Well, Jeff, can we just do a live tribal? Because me and the ladies are planning to vote out Owen and just blowing up tribal council and seeing what happens. But I think that I felt that gut feeling in the shift during tribal council. And I told myself, no, I'm going to still stick with my ladies and Sammy. When I feel like I could have given a little bit more fight to save myself.
Okay. And second time around, maybe if you know a little more about heavy metal, maybe that will work in your favor.
I don't know anything about. Now we want to start singing Disney songs. I got you. Like heavy metal.
I can't picture Gabler like busting into a whole new world on the beach. That's how you get. That's how you get in my alliance. To be honest,
yeah,
that's how
okay.
you and I work together.
So me and you would work together. Good to know. Good to know.
And I would bust out some Aladdin for you.
Oh yes, I love that. Now, all of the Aladdin songs. Now,
in the intro, you
Frozen.
said people say they're not here to make friends, but you're there to make friends. Did you, other than me, did you make any friends?
Yeah, I think all of Baca are my friends. Like when I said, let's go grab pizza and coffee, I really did mean it. Only now I just kind of want them to pay for me since I didn't get the million. Like you can all buy my pizza and coffee instead. I think that everyone on Baca is extraordinary human beings. It was a 2-hour episode, but for me, it was 3 days of getting to know these really incredible humans who have really personal, amazing stories and reasons why they were playing. And so I think I left the game with no ill will, not being mad at anybody. I went into it knowing it was a game. I left knowing it was a game. And I left still loving everybody and at least loving the people who I got to know on the island.
Well, Mariah, you're too good. You're too good for the game. That was your problem. Second time around, you be meaner.
Okay. But get rid of the rainbow.
I'm sending all the rainbow love your way.
Thank you, Court.
All right,
I love it.
And there's no way you're getting these gloves. There's literally no way my wife is going to let me send these.
They are too good. They are too good. Your wife needs them.
But now I can't. Like I said, I can't work the computer. All right, Mariah. Honestly, thank you so much for your time. This is great.
Bye. You're amazing.
All right.